Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Unconformed here. Today we're going to be talking about the elephant in the room, everything everybody's talking about. Martin Zubimendi. Is he the guy? Is he the missing link that Liverpool are needed and are looking for and have been looking for, honestly, for the past 3 seasons, right? A very good, solid CDM that they can rely on and that plays well in this, not Jurgen Klopp, but Arne Slot system. I want to talk about 3 major things that we kind of need to discuss. We kind of need to go over in this whole Zubimendi deal. 1, what is Zubimendi going to bring to the team? 2, how is this going to affect the way that we play? And then 3, how is it going to affect other players? And we can kind of see some of the dominoes starting to fall here this morning. I woke up to an absolute bombshell that Fabio Carvalho is on his way to Brentford. And I know a lot of people are talking about, I can't believe we're supposed to be the most popular club, most watched club in the Premier League. If you saw that news, that's actually a huge win. Most popular club in the Premier League, one of the richest clubs in the world, and we have to sell players to buy players. But I don't think in this case that is the reasoning behind why Fabio is leaving. I think Zubimendi is playing a factor into it, but I don't think we need money to fund the Zubimendi deal. I think the Zubimendi deal, if you've kept up with everything, is kind of being stalled on the players' half. He's not sure what he wants to do. He's not sure if he wants to go. Keep in mind, this is a guy who's born and raised in that area, been at the club since he was, I believe, like 13 years old or something like that. This is the equivalent of Trent AlexanderArnold deciding to move to Real Madrid or something like that, right? It's going to be a tough decision and it's going to take some time. I think we will get an agreement today. I think he will end up saying yes today, but we will have to kind of see what happens. I think the Fabio Carvalho deal is based off of more signings to come, but that's another video. But those 3 things we're going to talk about today in this video. Is Martin Zubimendi the missing link for Liverpool? So if you love Liverpool content, just make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure that you join the Unconformed Club, the Unconformed family. We continue to grow and grow every single weekend, and I think we have something special that we're cooking up here. So join the club, get subscribed for more content like this. So number 1, what will Martin Zubimendi bring to the team? So you are going to hear so many stats, so many stat heads out there. And if you haven't, you will. And if you probably already have, you've probably watched maybe 5 or 6 videos breaking down what Martin Zubimendi brings to the table. Me, I'm a stat guy as well, but I've come to understand that everybody's a stat guy that does this kind of stuff. And I kind of want to talk about the eye test. Let's talk about the eye test because his stats are good. They're not phenomenal. They're not standout. There is one stat that does impress me, and that's his interceptions and his efficiency in shooting and tackling. Those 3 things, right? But the eye test, when you see Martin Zubimendi play, he's not very flashy. He's not very 30-yard, 40-yard pass, although he can hit those. And he's very, very accurate. He actually is, if he comes on, he will be the 2nd most accurate passer that we have in our midfield behind Alexis Mac Allister, who we know is world-class, and there aren't very many midfielders in the world that are as good as he is. So we're getting that tier, that level of player when it comes to Martin Zubimendi, a Alexis Mac Allister kind of player who can be transformative to our midfield, I think, if things go the way that they need to go. But the way that he plays is very subtle. He likes to read the game and be one step ahead of the play versus being very dynamic and reactionary to the play, which is, it's a style of play, right? A lot of players can play like that. And Alan Varela, who we've been linked with, is that type of player where he's all action and you can see a lot of big movements coming from him when he's playing on the field. And it's very visible how good he is. He's not Rodri. He's not Xabi Alonso. He's Martin Zubimendi. He's a completely different style of player that we have kind of ever really seen at Liverpool. And I don't think we probably will see again for a long time. And I think this could be a really good thing for us. He is a link-up player. And why this is very important is because during preseason, we saw us build from the back a lot. And I think that is going to be a staple of Arne Slot and how he wants this Liverpool team to play. We didn't do that amazingly in preseason. And I think Slot saw that. He spotted it and he said, I need someone that can pick the ball up, keep it safe, never lose it. By the way, he has amazing possession stats, and I believe that's only behind Alexis Mac Allister. It might be actually better than Alexis Mac Allister, and only behind Harvey Elliott, if I'm not 100% sure. But rarely uses the ball, rarely loses the ball, rarely gives it away, doesn't take very many risks with the ball. He's a very safe in possession. He's a very safe player in general, which tells me a whole ton of stuff about what Arne may have in store for him. He's going to be delivering the ball into the midfield, is what it seems. And I think this is going to transform. I think we're going to see another iteration of Trent AlexanderArnold and what he can do based off of what Arne Slot has already done with his Feyenoord side with a player, Geertruida, in a similar position as Arne Slot, as Trent AlexanderArnold, right? And I'll talk about how this Zubimendis buy changes everything for Trent and how he will probably become one of our most important, if not our most important player in this team once this deal does go through, right? Zubi is good. He could be we haven't had a player like him in a long time. Efficient in the tackle, safe with the ball, can play 1-2 passes, can hit long diagonals, never loses the ball. I think he's a perfect foil to what we already have in the midfield, and I think he will unlock a lot of people when he comes in. Okay, so I like him a lot. If you haven't seen any of his games, don't watch the highlights. Don't watch the edits. Go watch a video, right? Go watch a game. Go rewatch that Spain 45 minutes, right? Go rewatch the 45 minutes he had in the final and watch it entirely. Don't let people snip out all the great parts. And just keep an eye on him when he comes in that game and how smart he is and how he's able to just read the game steps ahead. And I think it was accentuated in that game because, one, England had tired legs, and two, England don't really have players that are as intellectual as that on the field that are like, oh, he's reading. He knows I'm going this way, so I'm going to go this way, right? Very emotional second 45 for England. And I think Zubi took advantage of it. And I think that's one of his superpowers is to kind of be calm under pressure, almost emotionless when he's playing, right? And you can kind of see it in his personality. I was watching the parade that they had once they won the Euros, and Alvaro Morata is like, all hype, drunk, and it's like, Zubi, come on, say something to the fans. Don't be shy. And he's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, so I just love that personality that he kind of has, kind of a shy guy. It'll be interesting to see how things kind of pan out if things go well. But how he changes the way that we play, right? I mentioned this already, the building from the back, the be able to ball carry, playing safe passes, being able to deliver that ball into Mac Allister and into Szoboszlai. It's going to create a whole ton of fluidity throughout the entire pitch, not just in that final third where we saw in preseason where we looked phenomenal in the final third, but a little bit shaky at the when building from the back. So it's going to create so much fluidity throughout the entire team having a player like that in there. Unfortunately, Curtis Jones is not that type of player. He's more of a box-to-box player. Ryan Gravenberch, what I'm coming to understand, is probably a better attacking midfielder than he is an 8 or a 6. I mean, he looked good when he did play that 6 role in preseason, but I think his gifts and his ability is probably more geared towards the attacking sense. So Zubimendis comes in, unleashes these players to be good at what they're great at, right? Or be great at what they're good at, right? Instead of trying to be good at what they're okay at, which I think Arne has understood. I don't want my players to be in that position, which we've done a lot under Jurgen Klopp, right? Where we've shoehorned players into positions that maybe isn't necessarily their best position, but they can play it, right? Szoboszlai is a great example of, I'm not really a great 8, but I can play it, you know what I mean? But I'm a phenomenal 10. Or when Harvey Elliott was playing as a right winger, like, I'm not a phenomenal right winger, but I can play it. I'm better as a 10, right? And I think it's a really positive sign that Arne is buying players in positions where we know we have weaknesses in. I mean, we've been looking for a defensive midfielder since we sold Fabio. What, 2-3 years ago, right? So we're finally getting a solution there, and hopefully there is more to come, right? So point number 3, and the most important point where I'm going to spend the most time on, and just talk about some of the tactics that I think will come from this acquisition, right, of Martin Zubimendi, of what players will be affected and impacted. Number 1, Trent AlexanderArnold. Why this is going to be so important, and from what I understand, he's been speaking a lot with Arne Slot on the whole contract situation and what he can expect from this team. And from what I've been hearing, he wants a greater role in the team. He wants a bigger responsibility in the team. And coming into his prime at 25 years old, pretty much has won everything. I understand that. I think now is the time for him to push for a Ballon d'Or status where it's so wide open. There isn't a definitive winner anymore every single year. I think there's a possibility that Trent could put his name in that hat with a 15, 20 assist season, right? And maybe bagging maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 goals. You can make an argument for Trent on that. So now is the time for him to be one of the most influential, if not the most influential player in the Liverpool squad. And I think he can still do that from right back, given how Arne Slot used Geertruida in his Feyenoord side, right? So if you go back and look at some of those Feyenoord games, and I might pop a graphic up here onto the screen of how they like to set up and in possession with Geertruida, he swings all the way infield, more than what we were doing with Pep Linders and Jurgen Klopp inverting Trent. He actually almost comes in as a defensive midfielder when they're in possession. And the defensive midfielder moves further into midfield, who would be Martin Zubimendi, right? On that right-hand side. The 8 joins the attack even further. And the 10 almost becomes like a second striker, which I think it suits Dominic Szoboszlai so well. It's like almost like the formation is almost picture perfect for the personnel that we have. So what I think happens with Trent is that he becomes a quarterback. And he becomes a deep lying 6 in possession and a right back out of possession, which I think can work. That's my vision. That's what I think could happen. And you create almost like a midfield diamond where Trent's at the base of that, Zubi's on the right, Macca's on the left, and Sabo is at the tip of that spear. To put that into perspective, I think that we will bring in 2 to 3 more players, including Zubi. So Zubi, a left-sided center back who can play a left back role. I think we probably will go for Mamardashvili. From what I understand, that deal looks very likely. And we'll loan him out, give him time to kind of develop, and then, let Alisson kind of, decide what he wants to do with his future. From what I understand, he wants to go back to Brazil. I don't know if he's told the club that he wants that to happen sooner rather than later, and that's why we're moving on to a goalkeeper. I'm very surprised that Callagher is not going to be next in line for that, but maybe he's told the club that he's ready to move on, which goes into Zubimendi's purchase affecting other players. We've seen Fabio get shipped already. We're hearing whispers of Stefan Bajcetic maybe going a different direction, which I don't think is a great idea. I think Stefan should maybe be an understudy to Zubi. Instead of having Endo deputizing Zubi, I think Stefan should be the deputy of Zubi, so he can learn the game and learn from a master, so learn from someone who has mastered the defensive midfielder position and has not made it a brute, basically another center back, that plays in midfield kind of position, but an actual midfielder who is defensively astute. What a better teacher than Zubi, right? Maybe Rodri would be a better teacher. I think Zubi is the next best to that, right? I think Stefan should stay. Sadly, Ibu Konate. I'm hearing that he hasn't impressed Arne Slot as much as he's wanted. And from what my last video that I mentioned, there's some worries about him being able to play this style of play and play out of the back the way that Arne wants. And I get it. And if Konate goes, I think we definitely have to go for Nkapia, and I think we definitely go for another center back, because I don't know if Sepp wants to stay. But if Sepp stays, maybe we get one more, We rotate Gomez in. We rotate Sepp in. Kwanzaa continues to grow and grow, and maybe that's that starting position that he, I think, so deserves next to VVD, and then that's our center back core: Hincapie, VVD. We got Kwanzaa in there, Gomez, and then Sepp all rotating in and getting minutes and getting time. And then we have cover on the left back position with Tsimikas. I think he stays. I think we keep him. He looked great in preseason. He's playing well in the slot system. And Kapia can deputize there. Gomez can deputize there. We have Bradley on the right and right back deputizing for Trent, who Gomez can also deputize in there. So it's a very fluid and versatile back line with that one move if Konate has to go, right? So we could see what happens. We'll see what happens in the next handful of hours. Hopefully we have some good news. Hopefully we get a Zubimendi. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano later today. But you guys tell me, what do you guys think? What does this Zubimendi deal do for Liverpool and its team on the field and off the field? Who do you think comes in? Who do you think goes? Are we finished? Is this the only signing of the window? I don't think so. I think we get active this week. As you can see, a lot of drama, a lot of stuff going on right now, but let's get our first one in, right? But if you love Liverpool content, you love takes like this, you love Liverpool as the club, please like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe so you can get notified for more content like this coming out from our channel. I'm going to be doing match reviews for both matches tomorrow for preseason. So make sure you guys tune into that. I appreciate all of the new subscribers onto the channel. You guys are amazing. And thank you for joining the club, Unconform FC. We will see you guys tomorrow. See you next time. Peace. Boom.